Hey guys, Rob with Next Gen Writer here. So if you watched my video on the file structure and contents of the SD card for a Chigee device, you'll recall that on data log, I kind of gave a brief description, but I said I would do a video on it, and that's what this is. I'm going to do a deep dive on data log. So here's the file structure of the Chigee card. We'll go into data log. And you're going to see all these log files. And the log files start with log to identify them as log, then they have the date, and then dash and this 6-digit identifier on it. Now if you go into the video folders, you're going to see that the videos are identified with REC prefix, the date, and then a matching 6-digit identifier, and then F for front camera, and then another extraneous number here on the end. But these 6 digits are what you want to pay attention to. And we go over to the back video. Again, the same thing. Everything's pretty much the same except it's a B here for the back camera. So that's how you match the data for a video file. So what I've done is I've matched a couple here. We have a front camera recording and a log file, and I'm going to show you how you can use that here in a couple of minutes. Before we do that, let me just open a log file, and I'm going to make sure I grab one that's 3 minutes. So we'll 546. So the second one here, we're going to open that with Notepad++, and here's a look at the data. So what Chigee does is it's going to log this data about every 100 milliseconds. So for a 3-minute video, we have 1,760 entries capturing data. And it's capturing quite a bit of stuff. We get a time, date, lat, long. We have, scroll across here, a lot of this data, I don't know what it means. It's kind of cryptic, but we have GPS speed, we have direction or bearing, it captures altitude, it logs your max speed, whether your device is on or off, a lot of timers, OBD data, you're getting water temp, atmospheric pressure, air temp, tire pressure information, pressure and temperature. Over here we have the OBD data. So we have OBD speed, engine speed or RPM, throttle position, mileage logs, oil temperature. So a lot of data in this log file. So what can we do with this? I imagine quite a bit. I think Chigee's probably going to be using this data for their GPS tracking feature that's going to be coming out. But we can actually use it right now. So let me give you an example. So I have a program called Telemetry Overlay. Now this is a premium program. You can demo it for free for 30 days, but I've bought it. So we'll launch Telemetry Overlay. And then I won't give a deep dive on Telemetry Overlay today, but I'm going to show you how easily it can process a Chigee log file. So the first thing you want to do is you want to load the video file. So I'm going to go into kind of the preparation. So I got the Chigee on the bike today, and I just did some neighborhood cruising. I have some battery issues, so I couldn't really get it on the road. So we'll just select this video from cruising around the subdivision. I'll let it optimize because it's a short video. And you can actually load multiple videos and multiple log files in the same project. So I'll cover that in a different video and show you guys how to do that. But for today, we'll just take in a 3-minute clip. And now it's going to give you a chance to load the telemetry file. So what we're going to do is grab the log file and click open. And then it processes the telemetry and adds it. So I have kind of a default gauge here that, a setup of gauges that I don't particularly like. So what I'm going to do, or this is called a pattern. So I'm going to select patterns, and I'm going to load a pattern. I've already looked at this and have one set up to demonstrate the Chigee data. So I'm going to open this pattern. And now you can see gauges here. I've done nothing else. I have configured the gauges, but this is taking the raw data that we just loaded and displaying the data. Let me make sure the volume's off. So now as we scroll the video, I stopped there for a second. Here we go. You can see the data respond and update. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of gauges that you can use based on the Chigee data. Now I got to tell you, so I'll come down to add a gauge, and the way you want to do this, you want to go to custom, and then you have all your custom options here. Any extra data that's sent from a device kind of defaults to custom gauges. So I'll just pick one at random. I'll grab a tape gauge, and then here is where you select the data stream. So now obviously all the data that I just reviewed in the log file is not here in the stream. So it doesn't grab everything, but it grabs quite a bit. So, and you know, we can work with Chigee on this and see if they might support it and get us more data if we're interested in it. So I'll close that gauge. Now, this video here, I still left the overlay on from Chigee for comparison's sake. So we have the lean angle down here, the speed that's written to the video, lat long, date, time. But everything else here is a gauge from Telemetry Overlay. And everything kind of works pretty darn good. It's you just kind of pick and choose. There's default gauges. So if we go to standard, I'll switch this over to basic. These all tend to work. Speedometer, it knows, it'll grab the speed out of the overlay data, time, date, GPS path. So these are not custom fields, but they do work. So what I'm talking about is this bearing up here, the dynamic map feature up here. This is called GPS path. Now these down here are customs. So, and this one's custom. These are all custom. So I had to select from the Chigee data file. It wasn't auto-linked, I guess is a good way to put it. So there's some pretty cool stuff here. The reason I did, so what I'll do is I'll try to find a spot. Okay, I wrote kind of this curve here. I'm going to play the video, and you're going to see there is a bit of a mismatch between like the Chigee overlay speed and the data log speed. And I've kind of analyzed this, and there's some filtering you can put on the gauges, and I kind of tinkered with it. And to be honest, I think the GPS data is just simply more accurate than the Chigee overlay data. You know, maybe that doesn't give you confidence for the guys that like the overlay in the GPS, or excuse me, in the cam video. But in my opinion, it looks like the GPS overlay log data, not overlay, the log data is more accurate than the video overlay. So you'll see discrepancies. That's why I added another speedometer here. You're going to see discrepancies here, and then also in the lean angle. So I was having battery problems today, so that's kind of why I keyed on voltage over here. If you look at that, you know that's not good. My battery's weak. I should be closer to like 14 volts over here. So I got to either get my battery charged up or get it replaced. So we have elevation. Here's just a raw elevation number, and then you can plot it over time. And so some pretty cool stuff. This is another thing. So what I'll do is I'll back up and talk about this gauge real quick. So as I reverse the video, in this path here, you're going to see the marker move. I'll back up to about here. And what you can do is, if you're a guy and you got a bike that you run on the track and you're running laps and you want to, you know, look at your corner speed. So what I did is, you know, I took some corners here, and I'll show the gauge. you kind of just manually set corners. So you'll move the, wherever it is in the first lap, mark your corners, and then as your video progresses around doing multiple laps, it'll capture your corner speed. So now I'll play the video and show you that. So my corner speed is not going to be very impressive. So we come up to the first corner, we take the corner, and then it marks it 18 kilometers. And we make our second corner, it marks it 16 kilometers. And then we come down and make our third corner, and it marks it at 18 kilometers, excuse me. So some pretty neat stuff. Over here on GPS Path, this is a very, very friendly and very configurable software. You can change colors. You got lots of gauge styles. You can do analog gauges. Like, let's see, we'll quickly add a different style of speedometer. Pop that one up there. And there, now we have a different speedometer. And we'll change the size of that, make the speed bigger, and change the color of the needle. Boom. You can adjust all these tick marks. So it's very, very friendly software. I'm going to delete that gauge. And then on raw data, you can do session averages, session minimums, your current, your average, your max, your mins. Lots of different data you can present. GPS path is kind of cool, so you can see that the path that you've completed is darkened, and then you have kind of a little bit of a translucent or gradient here on the remaining path. And let's see, dynamic map is pretty cool, and make that bigger. See, it'll show your path plotted on a Mapbox map. So neat stuff here with Telemetry Overlay, and pretty cool that Chigee has given us a data log to play with. So I need to get my bike fixed. I need to start doing some road testing now. I need to get my battery sorted, see what's up with my charging system. Hopefully I don't need to change a stator or anything like that. But the Chigee's on the bike. That went pretty smooth and very good install. The kit worked pretty darn good. There's a video on that if you want to check it out. But this is kind of an overview of the log file from Chigee. Very, very useful for some people, I think. I'm just showing you one application of it with Telemetry Overlay. I'm sure there's probably other things you can do with it. So anyway, thanks for watching.